Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pause Pod, the podcast where two gals who love film try to yap their way into becoming indie darlings. I'm Kara.
And I am Dani.
And we're together. We are tactile. We are tactile in the same space.
Guys, it's a miracle.
For our grand finale of season 1, we're live from Pause Pod HQ together.
From Pause Pod HQ stateside.
Stateside.
How fun.
I know. I decided to come for a little Halloween fun.
Halloween holiday, as some might say.
H-A. I have to say, though, like, no one does Halloween like America.
No one.
Like, so much love to the Brits. They love embracing the scary side of Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, they're very spookalicious over there.
But we embrace all of it. Like, we embrace the aesthetic. We embrace the culture. We embrace the cozy. And
there's so many shades of Halloween here versus there it's more one tone.
Oh my gosh, right.
Yeah, I just love seeing jack-o'-lanterns.
Right.
I just need them sometimes.
And I don't know which way you took to get to my home, my humble abode, but if you passed by the churches,
I saw the pumpkin
patch in the churches.
You bet I did almost crash the car.
You bet the bottom dollar.
You bet you're on the dollar. I said, should I take a detour? Should I just pick up a few?
I know. I have to actually like pick up a couple because my Sunday school later
for the
kids we are doing like a pumpkin carving like extravaganza.
Take it back to your roots, you know.
And so I need to pick up a couple for the kids who inevitably forget to bring their own.
Right.
But Halloween spooky autumn.
But speaking of, we thought, what better way to end our first season of Pause Pod than to embrace the spooky season? And I have to confess something to the audience. The reason we're here today is partly because I need to be held accountable. Okay, so if y'all are on the internet as much as we are, you might have seen this really wholesome and whimsical trend called building your own personal curriculum. So people who miss learning things in their adult life and miss that curiosity that comes with being in school, create your own curriculum. And I took it upon myself.
You did.
Because I am scared of everything. You are. And because I felt like I was really missing out on the horror film genre. I love analyzing them. I love hearing about horror films, but it brings me physical pain to watch them. Heart palpitations. I was like, you know what? If I enter this through an academic lens and I make a horror film class for myself as part of my curriculum, maybe it'll help. And it's been a month and I've only watched one horror film. Or I had only, prior to this episode, only watched one horror film because, I forget, I'm scared. That is a key ingredient. I'm scared. Of course I'm not going to want to do it. I'm scared.
Right.
So I said, you know what? Who I will do it for?
Me.
Her wife. My wife. And for the indie darlings. So this episode, we are diving in to the spook.
We have two really great horror contenders here. A more modern one with His House and a honestly, do you say cult classic? A classic, a pioneer.
Yeah.
Even of the horror genre, I would say.
Psycho. But yeah, my deal with Dani was that I needed an old Hollywood classic because that's a wonderful entry point for me in Psycho. And then I told her she could pick whichever one she wanted for the second film.
And to be honest, I also hadn't seen, prior to this, I hadn't seen His House. However, Care Bear's wife recommended it to me like ages ago, literally ages ago.
A horror connoisseur.
A horror connoisseur he is, and he recommended this to me ages ago, and I just have not gotten around to watching it. And so I picked this mainly because of him, and I was like, I think this would be really good.
Yeah. And even though my neighbors must have thought I was going through something with the noises I was making while I was watching His House. But I'm so glad you picked it, and we'll get into it because I think it embodies why I really want to learn more about the horror genre, like the things the horror genre can do thematically that no other genre can do. But y'all, I was scared.
And with that said, Care Bear, shall we just hop right into our play of the
There's
day?
no other way. We have to
There's no
jump
other
in.
way. Let's go to play. So, do you want to give us a synopsis of his house?
Sure thing. So, his house came out fairly recently in 2020,
Right.
written and directed by, I'd say, an indie darling, a rising star in the
Mhm.
British independent film scene, Remy Weeks. And this film follows two people seeking asylum in the UK, having
Mhm.
escaped a war-torn Sudan, and they're kind of going through the immigration process, and they're in the step where they're given housing, and they're kind of in this trial period where the government is going to keep tabs on them. They have to check in with a social worker every week, and if they pass this test of being residents, then they are on their way to
Mhm.
citizenship. But
The house.
all is not okay in this house.
All is not okay in this house. And I think that this has been one of the most innovative, haunted house horrors that I have seen in a while.
Yeah, I was gonna say the use of sort of magical realism and
Mhm.
memory and dreams, like the almost you can't even perceive which is which in the
Mhm.
film. And some of the devices they use with like light and shadow is pretty amazing because I think one thing that really hooked me in as somebody who was just like perpetually scared the whole time was the connection between the monster and the characters themselves.
Right.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Um kind of continuing on with this like imperceptible blend between memory and magical realism.
Mhm.
In the house, there start to be some creepy crawlers in the wall. That's kind of how it starts. And then you're jumping back and forth between this magical realm and reality. And that's brought on by flipping the lights on and off. And so when it's dark, the inner demons become outer demons and they start to haunt these
Mhm.
people. And I really loved that because it gave me something to hold on to anchor me. Like this monster wasn't this big bad thing. I mean, it was because I was very scared, but it was rooted in, okay, I'm intrigued because there's something about them that I don't know. Like there's a secret they're keeping that is motivating the monsters to come out. And that
Mhm.
relationship between inner and outer demon kept me as somebody who doesn't usually watch horror films hanging on because I had that, okay, there's a plot twist that's going to be revealed. There's more to these characters that meets the eye. And that kept me grounded in.
Yeah, absolutely. Spoiler alert,
Huge plot
huge
twist.
plot twist. Finding out that their daughter
Was
was not
not their
their
daughter.
daughter, and then it was just a child that they basically
Stole.
kidnapped. Like, they
Yeah.
basically stole her in order to get on the last bus out
Mhm.
of their war-torn town, and my god, that scene, like, on the back of the bus, and the kid is just, like,
Screaming for
screeching.
their mother, the real
The real
mother.
mother.
But yeah, because and that scene is so well done because obviously you have so much empathy for this couple
Mhm.
who are just trying to survive, trying to escape. And to get on the bus, they're like, "We have a child, we have a child." And then you don't know until the very last minute that it's not
Not
their
their
child.
child.
And this also brings me to something that I want to talk to you about one of the themes of this, because as the film goes on, you realize that the demon is saying, like, you stole this
Mhm.
life. This life isn't yours. And it's referencing the child that they stole in order to earn
Mhm.
passage on the bus and then on the boat to get to England. But it also got me thinking of just the rhetoric that people have when they talk about refugees and stealing jobs, stealing lives, like you're coming to this country that's not yours. And to have that rhetoric not explicitly linked to any, prejudice, but having that theme in the air of the film and having other white people in the film just act in a way that kind of had that texture of like a slight hint of prejudice. But to have that demon say it, and then to have it turn into like, could it be argued that they needed to steal this child to survive? To like,
Mhm.
depending on how you look at it, like, and another spoiler alert, the child ends up dying on the
On
passage
transit,
to
yeah.
England. So this couple comes to England by themselves, but they the child drowned on the way there. So you could argue if the child had survived, would they be giving her a better life? Like, were their intentions pure? Were their intentions malicious? Yeah, just the gray area of all of that. Like, to have that conversation be sparked by this horror film, I think is so powerful.
Yeah, I think this film in and of itself was equal parts heartbreaking as it was horrifying.
Yeah, I was sad scared.
Like, I was, like, crying internally,
Yeah,
and then
and
also,
externally.
I'm shaking in my boots, I'm scared, I'm petrified, but, like, for me, it was the scene where she's the wife is trying to escape the house and ends
Mhm.
up, like, in her memory or in this dreamscape,
Mhm.
basically,
Of
and
her
she's
past.
of her past, and she's in this school,
Mhm.
and she's seeing, I guess, all the people that she used to work with, and they're talking to her, and, like, the demon that's trying to get her to basically kill her husband, life for a
Right.
life,
Eye for an eye.
eye for an eye, life for a life, and she's just sitting there and, like, she's like, "This isn't real," and, like, the moment where she decides, like, "I'm going to live with this guilt, and I'm going to live with the
Accept it.
survivor's guilt,"
Mhm.
that had been, like, obviously eating her up the entirety of the film, and then just seeing, like, when she's about to, like, hold hands with the child that died in this imaginary state, and she's going to let her husband succumb to this demon, and then she's like, "No, like, I'm choosing my husband, I'm choosing this life, I'm choosing to live with the guilt that was eating us." It honestly was beautiful, but like, in such a
Um,
like, I don't know, that survivor's guilt is this is such a, like, a beautiful display, a beautiful and horrifying display of what survivor's guilt and trauma it
feels
feels
like.
like and how it
Yeah.
can, like, cannibalize you in a way,
Mhm.
and
Like, what is the
yeah,
real evil, and, like, what are the
exactly.
things we tell ourselves, like and, I'm so glad you brought up her character. Her character was my favorite
Yeah.
of the whole film, beautifully played by Wonmi Masaku.
Our
She's
Sinners girl, our
she's
horror queen, our
incredible. She is a horror
horror
queen.
queen.
She is an indie darling. She
Yeah.
is incredible, and, ugh, Sinners, I mean, sneak peek of our best of the year, that's definitely gonna be on there. Um, so beautifully played by her because she's not afraid of the demon.
Right.
Like, she because of her culture and her, I guess, just faith in what she knows to be of spirits and magical beings, she's like, "It's here for a reason," and she's more focused on why it's here
Yeah.
than being afraid of it, and, like, that scene that you described where she's in her dreamland and the demon is creating a memory for her of all the women that she used to work with in this school. The sadness is when she realizes it isn't real because she's getting such comfort from
Exactly, I
it.
was about to say, she's almost more comforted by
Mhm.
the demon than anyone that she has met
Mhm.
so far in this new life that she is
Mhm.
living in the UK, and, like, there's almost a comfort there because it's like, this is her last connection to her culture, like,
Mhm.
this demon is basically her last, like, connection to her culture, who she is,
Mhm.
everything that she left behind, and there is a comfort in that
Mhm.
almost.
'Cause her husband is very much like of the roles they play in this film, he's very much like, "This is our home now, let's assimilate, like,
Mhm.
we need to play the game to stay in
To
this
stay in this
country."
country.
And they have a line at the very beginning where he's like, "We're born again. Like, this is our new life, this is our new home." And she's trying to piece together how much of herself to sacrifice in order to
Mhm.
have this new life, and it just got me thinking of, like, I think more traditional horror films, it's very much like protagonist and monster,
Yeah,
versus when a person of color is at the helm of this film and they're diving into, well, what if it's more complicated than that? And
exactly.
what if we're yes, there's fear in this, and obviously, like, the husband is in very perilous situations and they're afraid of the demon, but to me, I was like, there was just such another layer, another nuance to it
Mhm.
of what if there's a slightly different relationship to this monster, and what if she's asking why?
Right, and, like, the scene what you were talking about with the husband and her being kind of, like, 2 sides of this is when the husband finds out and, like, accepts that there's a demon in the house, and, like,
Mhm.
this is what's happening, you know,
Can't go back
can't go
now.
back. This is where we're at. He kind of he takes everything and starts burning it because he was like, "This is how we're gonna get rid of it. This is how
Yes.
we're gonna get rid of it." And then she's kind of begging him. She was like, "Don't take everything from me. Like,
Mhm.
don't leave me with nothing." And it is like this kind, as you were saying earlier, of like, this is a new life, and they're like the rhetoric of like stealing jobs, stealing lives. It's kind of heartbreaking in that like parts of these refugees and these immigrants do have to sacrifice so
Yeah.
much of themselves and like everything about their cultures to be able to assimilate into this new country that they're in. And it was just like a heartbreaking visual knowing, and especially that scene with Matt Smith when he's like taking them through the house
He
and
plays the
like
social
he
worker,
plays a
by the
social
way.
worker, yes. And he's taking them through the house and like as he's leaving, he's like he looks at them and he was like, "I hope you're one of the good ones."
And he says, "Don't make it hard on them." Them meaning the community.
Kind of hits you in the gut because it's
Mhm.
like that is something that you're grown up hearing. Like
It's a belief. It's
it
a
is a
it's a trained
belief. It's a
belief.
trained thought and it is a trained belief. And like you're seeing these people who have sacrificed everything and who genuinely could have died on this pursuit to a
Mhm.
better life. And you're just like, I hope you're a good one.
I know. And the the character of the wife is also sorry because she has that one line where because the husband's, like, afraid of this demon. He's
Yeah.
like, "This is terrifying." And she's like, "After I've seen everything that man can do to one another, how would you expect me to be afraid of a demon?" And I said, "Say it again for the people in the back." And it yeah. So their dynamic is just incredible, but yeah, Matt Smith's character as well, like, he was an interesting one because
It wasn't that he was a bad like you couldn't be like, oh, he's racist. Like you couldn't really write him off as like,
he
oh,
was
he's
so in the
racist or
gray.
he like he was so gray and he was just like you could tell that like again, it was a trained belief, but like
Mhm.
I feel like there was part of him that's like, I do hope that you guys make it,
It was
you
played
know?
so he performed it so beautifully because, like Danny was saying, some of his lines of, like, "Don't make it hard and be one of the good ones," you're like, "Ooh, that's ooh, ouch, that
Uh,
stings a little bit." But then there's also there's also moments where he could report him but them, but he
didn't.
doesn't,
Exactly.
and he kinda sticks up for them in front of his other colleagues, and not so much, like, I'm not, like, putting so much on his character, but there's a slight inner battle, I think,
Mhm.
where he's seeing these people as people, God forbid,
Exactly.
and but his job and the system that he's in is telling him to do things a certain way.
Right.
I also thought it was funny, this is just a small, like, haha, like, British housing, London housing, but they everybody keeps commenting on how big the house is.
Yeah.
Like, they keep saying, like, "Bigger than my house, like, good luck." It's like versus it's like, roach infested, like, horrible conditions, but they're like, "It's bigger than my house." But I guess that goes back to this scarcity mentality, "You're stealing your life, you're coming to this country, blah, blah, blah." So, yeah, incredibly, incredibly done, but I was shaking in my boots.
Yeah. And just like the end scene where you just like you see their house like filled to the brim with the ghosts of like everyone that couldn't make
Such
it
a powerful
and
image.
it was just like yeah, like
Mhm.
they're learning to live with it and they're realizing like the survivor's guilt isn't something that I'm going to be able to get rid of now or get rid of ever in my life, but
Mhm.
it's something that I am choosing to live with and almost honor in a way. Like,
And that's the journey of the husband's character because in the end, he's like, "Your ghosts stay with you,
yeah.
and you have to face them in order to make peace with them." And, yeah, a metaphor for making peace without survivor's guilt and the trauma, but that scene of it's just a still, like, image of them standing in their house and then all other people that didn't make it standing beside them in the house, and this film really knew when to stay still and when to
Mhm.
ramp up.
Mm,
Like,
mhm.
and signaling to you as the audience, like, "Hey, take a minute. Take a minute to think about this and look at, like, all the people that didn't make it to this house." And, yeah, it was so well paced, so well done. Even though I will be having nightmares for years to come, I'm so, so glad that I watched it.
Yeah. I I agree. I think that it was brilliantly done. I thought it was beautifully shot. I think that it humanizes a topic that many of us will never have to go through.
And it's the dissonance that makes us not humanize it, like the
Exactly.
separation and not putting faces to it and not
Mhm.
living with them for a second.
Yeah, and yeah, I love complex characters, and this was just an entire film. Every character in this film was complicated,
Mm.
and there was no true I don't think there was a true evil in this film. Like,
'Cause the
you
demon
could argue the demon was just like,
but I
"Hey,"
get it, I get it.
you know, like, I like, "Hey, you stole the kid, and
Right.
the kid died because of it," you know what I mean?
And I forgot, he was like, "Restore the balance." I was like, "You know what?
You know what? Like,
Maybe.
I can't argue with you.
I can't fault you
I
for
can't
that."
fault you for that. Like, there was no true evil in this film, and there was really no true redemption either.
Yeah.
Like, we're just
We're just living with
we're
him.
just living with it. And yeah, I think that goes into what you're saying. I think horror is such a unique way for this type of story to be told, and that's
Mhm.
part of the reason why I love the horror genre is because of the things that we are able to do and the things that you're able to say in the horror genre that I don't think can be achieved
Mm.
elsewhere
It's just like
in the same way.
even we were talking before we started recording, it's, like, perfectly set up for an allegory.
Yeah.
Like, the metaphors are there, like, the opportunity for evil to be whatever you want it to be. It does pave the way for a lot of great things,
Yeah.
if you can stomach it.
That's all my thoughts on that one.
Yeah, gold
Beautiful.
star
Gold
from both
star.
a horror aficionado and a scaredy cat.
Fantastic pick if you guys are in the mood.
Recommend. Maybe watch it with a buddy, though.
Yeah, maybe don't watch it alone in the nighttime like I did.
Don't do that. No, no, no.
So now we're going to take a step back. We're going to rewind into honestly one of my favorites. I
Yeah.
don't watch it I don't rewatch it often, but it is a foundation in my horror kind of taste.
We're gonna go to some would argue the father of Hollywood horror.
The father of a slasher, the father of horror as we know it,
Alfred Hitchcock.
our main man.
Do you wanna give the people a quick synopsis if they haven't seen Psycho yet, what it's about?
Psycho Psycho, I feel like, is a bit hard to describe plot-wise.
It's basically split in 2.
It's split in 2, so we follow our main girlina, Marion, and we follow her as, you know, we see her have an affair. Spoilers, this is gonna be a spoiler plot. Sorry, guys.
It came out in
It came out
1960.
like, you cannot blame me.
But also, I will say, before you get into it,
Yeah.
the spoiler of it all, because this film is so famous, I knew about it. Like, we all know about it. We know the shower scene, and, like, it's very iconic. And even knowing what happened didn't take away from it.
Yeah.
Because it's just so well done and great. So
Yeah.
so you can go forth and prosper with the spoilers, don't worry.
Yeah. So, anyways, our girl Marion, steals like $40,000.
Yeah.
Steals a lump sum of cash. She steals it from her slimy, like no good, very bad boss.
Yeah.
Skips town. Ends up at this motel where she meets this character, Norman Bates,
The Bates Motel.
at the Bates Motel, and she ultimately, you know,
Gets got.
meets her demise, and then we follow Norman after that.
And Marion's
into
sister
her.
trying to figure out what happened to her.
Yeah.
So it's great. I think it's like it's half horror, half like detective thriller.
Mystery, and the
Yeah.
detectives come into town, and there's some things that go on with the murder investigation and
Mhm.
what happened to Marion, and we get some twisties and some turnies and some murder.
It's a good old time.
And that's what we're after. That's what we're
Mhm.
here for.
So this was a first time watch for me, but rewatch for you. What kind of jumped
Mhm.
out to you this time around?
I think just how first of all, the score is incredible. I think that's the best use of score in film
Ever.
ever to
And
exist.
this really brings back the importance of like a score in general, but a score in a horror
Yeah.
film can make you feel completely different than if the scene was not scored. Like, it tells you how to feel, basically.
Yeah. And I also think that this entire film is just a masterclass in suspense
Yes. And dramatic
and dramatic
irony.
like,
Oh,
it's
yeah. And there it is.
yeah, it is a masterclass in suspense, like, it keeps you on the edge of your seat the entire time, and I never felt watching this that it was in any way outdated, and watching it a second
Yeah.
time not a second time, multiple times, but more recently, uh, just seeing how much this film has influenced almost every other horror to exist.
All roads lead back.
All roads lead back, and I was just like, "How revolutionary was this film?"
To
Like,
have watched this at the
time
time?
would have been like, I know that it was one of the first films first of all, fun fact, first film to show a toilet flushing.
Getting down and dirty.
So, if you guys wanted a fun fact about that, but it was taboo because it was, like, one of the first to show, like, sexual imagery, it was one of the first to show
Yeah.
nudity, it was the first one of the first to show explicit, like, bloody violence on a screen, and they were just like, "Let's do it. Let's put it all in. Let's do it." And it was also and this was is my main point, the first to show mental health, like a mental health disorder, like a personality disorder,
Spoiler alert, multiple personality
multiple
disorder.
personality disorder, in like on a screen and with a character as complex and as interesting as Norman Bates. Like,
Incredible. I think I'm thinking back to, like, coming out of the era of, like, the production code where Hollywood was
mhm,
so strict with what you can and cannot show on screen.
mhm.
This must have just blasted onto the scene being like, "Scandal! Scandal! Intrigue! Scandal! Intrigue!"
And another thing that really that again, watching this from, like, a fresh eyes, there's this whole, like, topic it's mainly in books now, but with a character, like, haunting the narrative, and I was like, "I think this might be, like, the first instance of a character, like, haunting the narrative, which is Norman's mother, who he killed." Spoiler alert. Who he
Yeah. So for clarity's sake, you think as an audience that Norman's mother is killing first Marion and then the private detective that comes to investigate her disappearance because all you see are flashes of a person with long hair in a dress slashing these people with a knife. And you never see Norman's mother on screen and there's like these very long stretches of Norman cleaning up the crime for his mother and like, taking care of business. And you learn later that Norman had murdered his mother and then kind of adopted her personality because he couldn't deal
deal with
with
death.
the death of her. So he's killing all these people, but he believes he is his mother. So when he cleans it up, he's like, I'm cleaning up after my mother. Come on.
Lich insane. So we have our first case of a character kind of haunting the narrative
Mm. Without ever being
without
seen.
ever being seen, and I'm just like, the way that this genuinely was so ahead of its time is insane.
Incredible. It truly is this masterclass when we talk about suspense and dramatic irony of this film knew exactly when it wanted the audience to know information and
Mhm,
how it wanted that information introduced
mhm.
because you don't even know that Norman's mother died until halfway through the film. And then you're like, "Oh, but I just saw her kill 2 people." And the kind of split, as we're saying, of following Marion for the first half and then following the investigation of her disappearance afterwards, the audience has the knowledge of exactly what happened to Marion. So every scene with Norman from then on is infused with such tension and such suspense without I mean, Anthony Perkins does an incredible job, but those scenes don't even like even if he
Mhm.
wasn't as incredible as an actor as he is in this film, those scenes are already infused with so much conflict and tension just because of the sequencing of the film.
Yeah,
Crazy. Crazy.
absolutely incredible. But your first watch, what were your
My
original
first watch,
thoughts?
so I'm coming into it knowing that this film is iconic and kind of knowing its place in Hollywood history, but having never dipped my toe in it before, it was just iconic. I think, like, this film is in black and white, and normally I seek great comfort in black and white films because I love a Hollywood romp. I love sort of that golden age of Hollywood of the 30s and 40s. But it actually played into my viewing experience in a funny way because I was like, "Oh, this is, like, comforting and iconic." Then I was like, "Wait, I feel so unsettled." And it was such an interesting way to watch it. And then the use of shadow and light in this
Mhm.
film is so reminiscent of, like, the neo-noir era and some of the angles on Norman and just, like, the insert shots of certain things. It was just yes, it was just this, like, patchwork of,
Mm.
like, the director is telling the audience where to look, and you're just along for the ride, like, you have no control. And yeah, and most of this film takes place at night, and so the use of light is very specific and haunting.
With the forced perspective thing that you were talking about with the director, like, you're along for the ride wherever he, like, points you. One of my favorite scenes is, like, right after Marion is murdered, and where the camera's kind of just, like, searching for our next
Yeah.
subject. Like, there's, like, we're seeing, like, the person we've been following for the
Mhm.
duration of the film just died,
We're at a
and
loss.
we're like it's almost as if the camera is, like, searching with you. Like,
Mhm.
you're like, "Okay, who are we going to next? Like, where are we going next?" And it just, like, sweeps the room, and then we, like, focus in on Norman, who we follow for the rest of the film, but I thought that was brilliant
Yeah,
and
you feel almost like, confused and
disoriented,
disoriented,
yeah.
and that sequence when I was first watching it, the sequence of Norman cleaning up Marion's murder is so long, like, it's
Mhm.
almost 10 minutes long, and knowing what you know when you get to the end of the film, it's so intentional that we're like, "Norman's the one cleaning up. Norman
Man,
couldn't possibly
can do
have
it.
killed her because he's" and he has almost, like not remorse because at that time he doesn't believe that he committed the murder, but he's taken aback. He's like as if he's cleaning up his mother's mess. Like
Mhm.
the way that he plays that scene and the intention of that scene. Once you know the whole picture, you're like, oh goodness.
And even before that, like, when we were focusing on Marion and where she meets Norman for the first time, up until that point, Norman had the most lines, like, the most screen time of
Mm.
any of the side characters that we've met up until that point, and the entire interaction, we're just like, "Oh, this poor boy," you know?
And
"Oh,
that's the
this sweet
real
man," you
scary
know?
part of this film is how like what's the word like
Unassuming?
yes. Yes. Norman is so unassuming and so, like,
Mhm.
soft boy, cutie boy, like, eh, he's so hesitant with Marion and, like but then
But then
but
but
then
then
and I think that was I mean, I'm sure you could cite other sources, but I think, like, in terms of how we think of, like, that character type being born, it was this film of, like, the unassuming
Mhm.
serial killer and the man you wanna trust, the man that you're charmed by, the man that he's not
Mhm.
super suave and, like, aggressive, but he's a mama's boy and he has that super eerie line where he's like, "Boy's best friend is his mother." And you're like, "Oh my gosh." And again, it's a testament to Anthony Perkins and how he plays those scenes. There's, like, shots of his jaw twitching
Mm.
in certain scenes where he and finishing the film, I'm like, I don't know if those moments were just moments of tension of him thinking he's gonna get caught or his mother trying to come out. Like, that
Mm.
mother part of his brain coming out in those just and the way that he really reminded me of James McAvoy's performance in Split.
Yes.
When you can see behind an actor's eyes that they are somebody else.
It's like you can see the switch
Same.
happening right in front of you, and that is a testament of a brilliant actor.
Mhm. 'Cause even, like, the very last shot of the film is Norman in custody, and you've just
Mhm.
had this brilliant scene with the psychiatrist where they're explaining for the characters and the audience what is actually going on here, which was brilliantly done. And then you just see him, like, sitting in his holding room, and he's not speaking, but the mother's voice of his inner monologue is in
Is
his head, and a fly lands on his hand, and he's like, "I'm gonna make it so they think she could never hurt a fly." And he looks straight to camera. It's the only time he looked straight at the camera, and I was chilled to the bone. I was like, "That is not Norman. That
that
is
is
his mother." Whew! And I
like
think as a scaredy cat trying to go on my horror film curriculum journey, I do think that old Hollywood is the place to start.
yeah.
I I've also seen the 1977 version of Suspiria, which was also a good way in, because it's important to like take the modern technology out of it, because that's really what scares
That's
me.
really
When my imagination can run wild and it's so well done like that. But when it's a bit clunky, you could actually appreciate it for the filmography of it and not be so distracted by a heart going pitter patter pitter patter.
Because we were
Yeah.
between this and Rosemary's Baby.
Yes, which is also in the curriculum.
Curriculum.
But it highlights that when they did not have the technology to do all these crazy, scary things, like in actuality, in this film, you actually don't see too much of the murder shots. Like you see parts of Marion's legs and the splatter of the blood on the shower and like the shadow of the person in the background. Like they're creating this feeling out of what they had at their disposal. So the art of it really shines through. Not that there is not incredible art in the modern technology of horror films, as we've seen in his house, but as somebody who's trying to dip their toe in, it makes you kind of see the form a bit more.
Yeah, it was what we were talking about earlier with this being just a masterclass of suspense.
Yeah.
Like it elicits a feeling out of you. Like, and that is what a majority of the film is. It's eliciting this feeling from you and forcing you into these emotions that the director is very much trying to push you in.
Because would you argue, because you said before, this is kind of the blueprint for a lot of horror films that have come after. And is it mastering the art of making the audience scare themselves?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think like it's your mind comes up with more
Than what they could
than
ever
what
show
they could
you.
ever show you. And if you can like kind of guide your audience into that imagination, that is where true horror lives, you know?
Way to go, Alfred.
And brilliant.
But yeah, so I'm so excited this was part of my spooky season. And it makes me, dare I say, don't want to speak too soon.
Say
It
it.
makes me want to keep going in my curriculum to watch some more horror films.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. Guys, it's been a journey, but what is a cinephile to do? I gotta catch them all, like Pokemon.
You have to. You must. You must.
But important that I have the luxury of having horror people in my life who can guide me in the right directions. And I hope I can be that, we can be that to you guys. If you're like me and you're scared of your own shadow and you want to dip your toe into horror, the starter pack is Old Hollywood and Never Watch Them Alone.
Old Hollywood, Never Watch Them Alone. Maybe keep a light or two on.
And have your cozy chaser for afterwards.
A cozy chaser is indeed needed.
That's indeed needed. Mine was Gilmore Girls. You best believe I immediately turned it right on after his house.
Yeah. Even me, a horror connoisseur, after his house, I was like shook to my core. Mind you, it was like 11:30 at night when I finished it. I have a hubris, you know. I can admit when I'm
You wanted
prideful.
the aesthetic of
I wanted the aesthetic. I can
of
admit
night.
I can admit when I'm prideful. I
The
can.
cover of Night.
I can. And so I did wait until nighttime to watch this. That was my bad. That was my mistake. And I did have to watch TikToks after to soothe my mind, body, and soul. But
You gotta do what you gotta do.
you have to do what you have to do. But I do definitely recommend, if you haven't seen either of these, to sink your teeth in this spooky dooky season. We are so close to the end of spooky season. So grab onto these while you still can.
As All Hallows Eve creeps closer.
Screaming. And so will you.
And so will you. I sure did. Gosh. Hope my neighbors think I'm okay.
We are reflecting. We are reflecting on our Q3 about the past few months and films that we've watched.
Yeah, we thought it'd be nice for the season finale to think back on the past couple months, Q3 of our Letterboxd, and what are the films that stood out to us and that we would like other people to see.
Want to start? What's your first pick?
My first pick is a very Kara film. This could not get more Kara. As you know from our fall films list episode, I'm a believer in the church that is Nora Ephron. And this was kind of the Venn diagram of me and my boyfriend's taste, because it had on my side Nora Ephron, Meryl Streep.
Right.
On his side, Mike Nichols, Jack Nicholson,
Okay.
and then we come together to make a beautiful sandwich.
We do.
So the film is called Heartburn. It's from the 80s, directed by Mike Nichols and written by Nora Ephron, starring Meryl and Jack. And this is one of the films that kind of like sneaks up on you because it's not too plot heavy.
Okay.
It's more of it just creates this wonderful vibe and
Right.
emotion. Before you know it, you're like, why am I crying? So it follows Meryl Streep's character is a food writer, and she has been married and divorced before, so she's like, "Oh, I don't really know if I believe in that." And then enter her suave man, in Jack Nicholson. And despite her reservations and trepidations, she does get married to him again. And spoiler alert, he cheats on her.
Typical.
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 And he cheats on her just before she gives birth to their daughter.
Oh my god.
Tea is piping hot in this film. So now she's embarking on motherhood while trying to work through her marriage. And this whole concept of heartburn, like food, you like binge too fast and then you get heartburn. But it's so beautiful because you're just following their journey of she wants to kind of make the marriage work, even though she's like been hurt so bad by his adultery. And I even fell for him again. I was like, no, he really wants to work on this. Like he's a changed man. Um, and in the very end, spoiler alert, she finally makes peace with herself that like, no, I'm gonna take my daughter and I'm gonna go. But it's so bittersweet and it's so complex and nuanced. Like, I so wanted to hate his character, but I didn't. That's the magic of it because you're in Meryl Streep's psyche. Like you are having that tug of war with yourself of I don't want to give up on this, but I have to read the signs that are in front of me. It was just it's just so unexpected, such a like just great relationship drama, but yet I still felt cozy, dare I say. And going back to my obsession with 70s ladies of music in the summer, Carly Simon does all the music for the film. So, yeah, this was like an unexpected like August and September kind of like summer into fall film for me, and I loved it and recommend it.
Oh, that sounds heartbreaking.
Love is complicated,
Love is
y'all.
complex. Love is complex, and you want to root for people, and you want to believe that people can make mistakes, and you can grow and learn and overcome,
Mhm.
and especially when you're in love with that person, like you don't want to believe that the time and the effort and the love that you've given that person is just going to, I don't want to say go to waste, but just dissipate and not be
Mhm.
there anymore. And so,
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's such a good point. I think it's so great because it displays that you can love someone while not being in
in
love
love
with
with
them.
them.
Because that's what keeps you tied to Jack Nicholson's character is that like Meryl Streep has so much care and love for him, but she has to accept that he's not good for her.
Yeah.
Meryl will always do it. She'll always do it for you. What is your first Q3 highlight?
My first Q3 highlight is The Long Walk.
I
Yeah.
was too scared to watch it, but I'll add it to the curriculum.
Yeah.
Stephen King.
First of all, a little plot summary. It takes place, I don't want to say dystopian time, but I'm going to say, for the lack of a better word, a dystopian
It's a
era.
speculative fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where basically, they pick a teen boy from each of the states to compete in this
It's giving
long,
Hunger
it's giving
Games.
Hunger Games, to compete in this long walk in which, they just walk until everyone but one dies.
And that's it.
So, at least they're not killing each other is what I thought when I was going into this.
At least there's that.
But it made it more heartbreaking. So
Because isn't it that sorry, I'm asking for
go
myself
ahead.
and the listeners. It's set up to where they're being monitored by some military force on
Yes.
this walk, and if they slow it down for more than what, like 3 minutes, they get shot on sight?
So they have to keep a 3 point something mile per hour pace.
Okay.
And if they go below that, they get 3 warnings. And then in those 3 warnings, if you don't pick up your pace,
Then you're
pew
done.
pew, then you're done. And they all die in a plethora of different ways, to be honest. Is
The trailer really scared me.
It's a lot. And the main one that we're following is a character called Garrity, and he is our main guy played by Cooper Hoffman.
My favorite
And
Nepo!
you know what? I watched him in this, and I was like, "I like you. I
You're a
like
good
you.
egg.
I like you. I like when a Nepo's right, and you're Nepoing right, 'cause you can act." Like,
Your passion is up.
your passion is evident, and then there's a core group of friends, but his best friend in the film is Peter, and you're just following them and their friendship, and it's actually, like, a really great exploration into masculinity,
Mm, like male friendship?
and male friendship and, like, the things that make you a man, but also, again, like, standing up to an authoritarian regime and stepping up to doing what you believe is the greater good, and you learn that Garrity's character had a different reason and a different motive for wanting to join the long walk, and he had a longer motive.
Do they get a
They
prize?
do get a prize. So at
Okay.
the end, they get a lump sum of money. I think it's like 100,000, some lump sum of money,
Mm.
and then you're granted a wish, and your wish
Oh.
can be anything, like literally anything. Um, and it's actually quite beautiful because the motives, I won't say the motives, but like our main two characters almost switch at the end, like
As
in
the
their
walk goes on.
yes, as the walk
Okay.
goes on and towards the end, like, the motives and the foundational principles and morals that these 2 characters have almost, like, flip at the very
Mm.
end, and it was I sobbed. I sobbed, I cried, I threw like, it
Y'all, to get
was
Dani to cry is a
I don't
feat.
know, I cried probably the entirety of the last 30 minutes of that film. Continuous streams of tears
How
down my face.
how old are the characters meant to be?
They're young adults, like, that you have to be 18 to participate.
Okay.
So they're young men, they're called young men, and I guess it's almost like sending our young men off to war and, like, all of these things, and so it's a certain age, and there was only one character in the movie that was married, and we find out later down the line that he was married, and, like, it's a commentary on, again, like, hubris and, like, and it was honestly, it was brilliantly done, and there's, like, one scene between Garrity and his mother, because his mother like, you there's spectators, like, you can
Oh,
spectate
you
the
can watch it.
watch,
Okay.
you can watch it, and it's live streamed, so you can, watch it, but also you can watch it live and in the flesh, and there's a scene towards the end where his mom comes to, like, watch him, and he's like, "I'm sorry," like, he's like, the he's just,
'Cause
like,
they're walking nonstop for days.
nonstop, nonstop, and I think in the book, they walk, like, 200 or 300 miles, and
Min.
I think that they've stated that,
Fix that in a second.
I think they've stated that, over the course of filming, they walked the amount of miles, like, from the film.
The
While
actors.
yeah.
Well, I guess 'cause you're
Like, it's
every scene
constantly
is walking.
walking. Every scene is walking, and it was shot chronologically. Like, they had to shoot it chronologically because, like,
Wow.
as the characters on film are deteriorating and, like, dying
How
and
did you must have to train for that.
so they ended up I don't know if it's the same amount, but a similar amount to what is written in the books, and there is like, the book ending and the movie ending are not the same ending, and again, I thought it was brilliantly done.
Would you recommend it to a scaredy cat aspiring to be a final girl?
I would, because it's not scary, it's just sad. Like,
Right.
it's just like it
That's
would
the real fear.
if you were able to watch The Hunger Games, you're going to be
Okay.
able to watch this.
Like, gore level wise, there's blood.
I would say this is a bit more graphic than like, you see them die.
Oh my god. It's
It's
not
very
funny.
it's not funny, but
It's the
you
nervous giggles 'cause
it's a
I can't
no,
hold the emotion.
you see them die very visibly.
Okay, I'll do it for Cooper.
So, but again, I it was one of my favorites of the year, like, it was brilliantly, brilliantly done, and the acting was amazing, and you just feel for these characters, and you're watching them, there's
Do it, watch it, do
do
it,
it, watch
watch
it, do
it.
it, like, I haven't felt that much watching a film like, I just connect. Like, I was just like, I felt for them. I felt very
And that's why, like,
strongly.
the trailer scared me so much because I was gonna go watch and then I was like, they're just boys.
They are literally
I was like, oh my god,
if there's the thing like, "Oh, I'm just a girl," this film is like,
I'm
"Baby,
just a
they're
boy.
just boys. They're just boys."
But I'm always attracted to films that, as we said in our Scorsese episode, that tried to explore masculinity without judgment and
Mhm.
and how it veers toxic, how it's not, and what parts of the modern man are taught versus what is
It's
intrinsically
intrinsic.
there. So I'll watch it.
I
I'll
think
be
you should
brave. I'll be
be
brave.
brave. Be brave. You should be brave too, listeners.
Great.
It's fantastic. Like, fantastic. It
Um,
really is. It really is. Me and my best friend Jade watched it, and we were both just in there, sitting there, boohoo crying,
Boohoo.
tears, boohoo crying. So Cooper Hoffman, and David Johnson. Yeah,
Yes, and David was in
yeah,
Rye Lane, which is one of my favorite films from a couple years
yeah.
ago. A
They're gonna
different
be in
different
another
vibe,
film.
but still great.
They're gonna be in another film
Together?
together.
Good job.
I don't want to say it's an A24. Don't quote me on that. I'll look it up. But I think they're going to be in another film together. And those two together, I can see them being cast together
A duo.
as a duo for a long time. Like, they were locked in.
You know, the way to get me to do anything is friendship. So I have to watch this film to see my boys.
So that's mine. That's mine. That's my first one.
My next and final pick of my Q3 highlights is One Battle After Another.
I need to see it.
Because my wife has not seen this, I'll do a spoiler free, which is great because I think you should go into this film with the least amount of information possible. So written and directed by my king, Thomas Anderson. Burn! He is an indie darling if there ever was one. And when I walked out of this film, not only was I just reeling with how much I loved it, 5 stars across the board, but thinking about Paul Thomas Anderson as a true auteur. He writes and directs all of his films, and all of them are so different. Like, I was kind of baffled when I was going back through the backlog and thinking, like, he really just immerses himself into whatever narrative he wants to tell next, and they're such holistic worlds. They're so different, and yet he still has trademarks as a director, but just there's no, I guess you could pull together some common themes, but to me, they're like so of their own, which is, I think, the sign of a true artist. Okay, so I'll give a teaser, not a synopsis, a teaser. So One Battle After Another follows Leonardo DiCaprio's character and his love interest, which I will not say too much about her because that's a lot of spoils. They're a part of a revolutionary group called the French 75, which are kind of like this guerrilla resistance who are protesting through violence. So that's a big topic of the film. And then things happen, and then you jump 16 years later to his daughter and him living in hiding. The French 75 has been disbanded. I can't say too much without spoiling it, but because of an antagonistic force, this white military man, played brilliantly by Sean Penn, he is so funny. Like, he plays the, like, so insecure masculinity that you're, like, kind of ridiculous. Like, at one point, one character's like, why is your shirt so tight? And he's like, I'm not gay. Like, he just, like, he's so incredibly funny because he plays it so straight, and his fetishes and his insecurities live right underneath the surface. And I just think it's very apropos of the moment. There is, again, no spoilers, but there's also a storyline that involves this sort of secret society, like right-wing secret society, and they're called the Christmas Adventurers. And again, like, taking Christianity and how it is weaponized and making it ridiculous, incredible. Anyway, so you follow, now 16 years later, this sort of ex-revolutionist, Leonardo DiCaprio. One thing leads to another. His daughter is in peril, so he has to go on this journey to, like, help her. I won't say any more, but this film made me feel better as an American right now in this moment. And talking about just the themes of revolution, resistance, how much of it is a long game, how much of it involves different, like, modes of resisting. Like, are you still resisting if you're not blowing up buildings? Are you still helping people if you're not, like, if, underground, beneath the surface? And through his journey, Leonardo DiCaprio's character comes across different people, and there's one character named Sensei who is doing his own kind of revolution and resistance, and it's such a juxtaposition to the French 75, and yet he's like such an iconic character in the film. So yeah, thematically, I thought it just raised a lot of questions. It raises a lot of questions around race relations and revolution and resistance, but it doesn't deem to answer them. It just sort of think about this, and it doesn't shove the themes down your throat. It's very narrative driven. But it was just so well done. It was so well done and hilarious. And you don't think that this sort of film is going to be so funny, but it's saying like, this is ridiculous. Like what we were doing, to each other. And um, also the filmmaking of it. There's a chase scene, and the way that it's shot is just so unexpected. And speaking of building suspense, building the push and pull of this narrative, because it had to balance so much. It has comedy, it has real heavy moments, and navigates it so well. And also, shout out to the actress that plays his daughter. Her name is Chase Infinity, and she's been getting so much awards buzz. Like, this film just showcases her in such an incredible light. And I just want everybody to see it, because I think people are going to have different opinions on it. Like, I loved it from a filmmaking perspective and also a thematic perspective, but I've so enjoyed seeing people on TikTok, like, talk about it, especially women of color, because a key character in the film, like the mother, the revolutionary, like a lot of stuff goes down with her character that opens up different conversations, and I loved it. Way to go, Paul. Way to go.
Way to go, Paul.
And
I can't say
hopefully in another episode we can have a rewind, and I really want to hear your thoughts on it.
I will be watching it immediately. Props this weekend.
Yeah, so please go see it with a friend, and talk about it. Talk about not only this moment in America, but it's based on a book that was written in the 60s. So again, it's these cycles of revolution, these cycles of resistance. And I think this film, even though I had so many parallels to the current moment, I think this film will stand the test of time because of just the themes in general. Because hate to say it, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Right.
And film is how we process it. But anyway, love Paul Thomas Anderson, Gold Star. What is your final film?
My final film features who is now my newest obsession.
White Boy of the Month?
He's not white. He's not white. It's my main man from him.
And let's bring it back to one of the icons of this spooky season, which is Jordan Peele.
Yes. Who is a producer on this. And let me tell you something. Okay, first of all, him is directed by Justin Tipping. I'm pretty sure this was a directorial debut for him. Feature. I think this is a feature directorial debut for him. Again, don't quote me.
Yeah, any mistakes we make in the moment of our giggles, we'll correct in the show notes. Don't
leave me alone. I'm just a girl.
I'm just a girl.
Anyways, so him is it follows a rising quarterback, Cameron Cade, who suffers a potentially career-ending injury after being attacked. And just when all hope is lost, it seems like he will not be drafted into the NFL. Not NFL, but NFL in this film.
Fictional NFL.
He receives a lifeline when his hero, Isaiah White, offers to train him at an isolated compound. However, as the training goes on,
I'm scared.
Some things come. Some things happen. Some things go on in this camp.
Isaiah's character, like a former football star himself?
He is currently the quarterback of the team that Cam is getting recruited for.
Okay. In the fictional NFL.
In the fictional NFL. And it's kind of like a passing of the torch kind of situation.
Complicated.
And Cam is played by my new crush, Tyreek Withers.
Wait, I'm gonna pull up a photo. So sorry.
How beautiful this man is. Oh my God.
Sorry, guys. I had to take a big pause because my jaw dropped. His eyes are looking into my soul. The cheekbones. Ouch. He cut me with the cheekbones.
Look
Ouch.
at.
Don't even stop. And how dare. So I need to take a breath.
Everybody take a breather.
Oh my God.
Everybody take a breather. Take a moment. Mind you.
Also, I can only imagine, like, not to, but like, football, sweaty, movement.
Speaking of,
Not to sexualize this man, but like,
we'll get back into the film of it all in just a moment. He was, in fact, a football player, not a quarterback. Guess where? Florida State University. Heck yeah, baby. Go Noles.
Dani, you're cooked. You're done. You must marry this man. You must marry this man.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, Isaiah is played by Marlon Wayans. First of all, I love when comedy actors enter a genre that's not comedy, because the depth that they can bring.
It's the hardest genre to act, I think.
The acting in this was impeccable. The storytelling, impeccable. And I talked about this on my personal channel. I have a video. Anyways,
we'll plug.
Anywho, the commentaries on not only race, but in sport as a whole is so well done. There is this kind of link between football and it being like the modern day gladiator sport.
Ooh, the stakes
is so spot on, and the lengths that these men are willing to go through in order.
The spectacle.
It's the spectacle of it all.
Are you not entertained?
Precisely. I just thought like the subtext and just the commentary that they were making, both religious, like there was a religious commentary in it. There was kind of a commentary on cult-like behavior, like cult fandom, and how that translates into the sports realm. We were talking about, again, as I was saying, football as the modern day gladiator sport, the lengths that these men are willing to put their bodies through in order to be a vision of success, to be the GOAT, and especially, this is a film about Black men, using Black bodies as a commodity and as a source of entertainment is so prevalent in sports, and especially football. And so seeing this, and yeah, it was I have been looking forward to this film since
it has been
like,
I think even in a previous episode, it's one of your anticipated films.
I had been looking forward to this film since it was announced. I knew that it was going to be a top film for me.
And it delivered.
And it delivered. It delivered. And I feel like it got a lot of negative.
Really?
It got a lot of negative reviews and a lot of negative press, and I think it's because a lot of people felt very called out by the film. Am I saying it's a perfect film? Absolutely not. There's a lot of things that I could critique about it, but as a whole, it was incredibly done. Like, visually, the suspense of it, like, it was a fantastic. Like, I had my chest was palpitating. Pitter patter, pitter patter. My chest was palpitating the entire time. And like, it was really, really well done. Like, it was just like a really well done film. And I feel like I feel like a lot of the negative press that came with it came from people feeling called out. But I also think a lot of it did have to do with it being a Jordan Peele adjacent.
It's a lot of pressure.
I do think that people expected it to feel like a Jordan Peele film, because Jordan Peele has a very
specific tone.
He has a specific tone, you know what I mean? And this was not that. You know what I mean? Like, this was its own. Like, it stood on its own.
Well, that's why it's so incredible, like, Jordan Peele producing this, like, him having his own production company, Monkey Paw Productions. A production company that puts the darling in indie darling for sure. He wants to uplift other stories. Like, the fact that his filmography has created this whole other branch of the horror genre he wants to continue that legacy, and we need to have room for that.
Exactly, and I think Justin did an incredible job directing this.
For a debut.
Like, if this is a debut, he did
If it is, we'll
if it is
check.
we'll check. Please don't hold me. He did it was visually stunning.
Mhm.
Like, genuinely, like,
The
visual
direction
the
of
direction
it.
of it
Yeah.
was brilliant.
Yeah, and you're going back and forth on, like, oh, it's not a perfect film, but, like, I think as people who love film and love to analyze film, there's so many different layers, like, we can talk about, like, Hitchcock and the sequencing of his films
Mhm.
and the shots and the minutia of the filmmaking, but at the end of the day, like, how does a film make you feel?
Feel.
Like, I think the true test of a film's impact is how it makes you feel, and whether or not I would do something differently with the direction or I would, switch that shot,
Mhm.
like, it doesn't matter, like, this film impacted me because of X, Y, and Z, and, like, I'm glad this film is in the world, you know?
Yeah.
So
No, it's I 10 out of 10 recommend it. I think that you guys should watch it. I think the acting is incredible in this. It is not Tyreek's debut. He was in I Know What You Did Last Summer,
yeah,
but I this is his first, like, lead, and he is genuinely captivating. Like, he is a star.
I'm excited to watch it. Jordan Peele is one of the safe for scaredy cat, horror films, so it's already piqued my interest, and especially, like, speaking with you about themes of it and the converging of your 2 favorite worlds, horror and football. Someone who, like, has been around football my whole life but hasn't been, like, fully immersed in it myself, I just love analyzing things from that
I
point of
think
view.
I think you would actually you'd be scared shitless. I have to say that.
Let's
I
let's say
think
it like it is.
like, let me be honest with you because even I was a little at moments, I was like, like, there were moments that I actually, like, had to hide, physically had to hide. So, you're gonna be nervy. You're gonna be nervy, you're gonna be scared.
I'll watch it in the pure light of the morning.
The dayest of the time, the most daytime that you can watch a film
Got it.
is when you should watch this with
A
your
buddy.
partner. But I think that what you're gonna get out of this film will be worth it,
Love it. Can't wait.
personally. I do.
Great. Well, that is our Q3 wrap up! Because this all started because there's a lot of pressure. We will do our end of the year films, best of the year.
Yes.
Don't worry, we'll
In
deliver.
season 2.
In season 2, look forward to it. But I do like a quarterly check-in because it's hard to pick those end of the year favorites, and
Yeah.
there might be films that stood out to you in a certain moment that didn't make the end of the year. So very exciting.
Very exciting.
Well, we have come to the
We've
end
come to the end.
of the episode. Shall we move into what gave us pause this week?
Yeah. Kara, what gave you pause this week?
I have been listening to the album called The Art of Loving by Olivia D.
Shut up.
And I've been living my best life.
Fantastic album.
Incredible album.
Fantastic album.
I had Olivia D on my radar couple years ago, last year with her debut.
Yes.
And she just keeps delivering.
She does.
She keeps delivering.
She does.
I mean, also a graduate of the Brit School, which gave us Amy Winehouse, so,
You know.
But she's just great. She's adorable and I love her. And this album to me and her music in general, she said before that she's been influenced by like Carole King and like Aretha Franklin and like all the greats. So she has this sort of there's a jazziness to the pop, like it has a bit of swing to it, so it feels just really comforting. And yet, like, she's talking about her modern life and dating nowadays, and but also just like looking at love in general. The art of loving. The theme of the album is just looking for love. Like it's like that quote from Love Actually, where it's like, if you look around, love is everywhere. But yeah, and I think to me, I was trying to describe to somebody how this album makes me feel, and I keep picturing like it's a swaying in the kitchen album.
Oh, yeah.
It's like those beautiful pictures on Pinterest where it's like outside the apartment building, but it's backlit and there's a silhouette of people just like dancing around.
Warm light,
Warm
not
toned.
overhead.
No cold tones, only warm tones.
Warm light.
Even candlelit, if you will.
If you will.
And it's just a lovely, lovely treat of an album. So I've just been playing it nonstop.
God, I love that.
What gave you pause this week?
Let me tell you. I went to New York this past week.
The Big Apple.
The Big Apple, to test it out, see what the vibes are, guys. First of all, I might start some controversy. I think that Brooklyn is better than Manhattan.
Agree.
Personally speaking, I think Brooklyn is better than Manhattan. I spent 90% of I was there for like 5 days. I spent 1 day in Manhattan, and the rest in Brooklyn.
It's just
So
cozier there.
it's cozy. It's so
The
nice.
vibes are better.
Lots of great thrift shops that aren't too overpriced.
Relatively.
Relative. There were, of course. There was one that sold, like, you could, like, bring in used books or something, and they'd give you a jar of pickles. Fantastic.
That was made for you.
Precisely. But that is not what gave me pause.
Okay.
What gave me you see, this is why I say that Brooklyn is better than Manhattan, because I went to a plethora of parks in Brooklyn, and what I'm about to say didn't happen to me in those parks. I went to Central Park once. I'm walking out of Central Park. This girl comes up to me and she said, "I need you to wait." And I said, "What's happening?" And she was like, "A bug just flew into your hair." I said,
That's
"Now
sisterhood.
pause."
That is sisterhood.
Pause. Pause. What do you mean? And she was like, "Yeah, I'm so sorry."
I need you to wait.
I'm so sorry.
I think because she was trying not to provoke you. She was
Right.
like, stay
She was
still.
like, "I don't know how to tell you this." And I was like, "Okay." And she was like, "I will pick it out of your hair." Sisterhood. Sister I love when women
Oh, I love being a woman.
I love when women and she picked the bug out of my hair. And I wanna thank her. I don't know that if that queen will ever come across this, but if she does, I want her to know what she's done for
Just
me.
send a light out into the universe for her.
Like, that is womanhood, that's girlhood, that's sisterhood. I could have been walking around with a bug in my hair.
Even worse, that bug could have crawled to your neck.
I know.
I shouldn't have even voiced it. She saved you from
Saved me.
unnameable horror.
Unnameable.
Unnameable. Immeasurable strife. She saved you from.
Literally, I could not, like, if that thing would have touched the barest of my neck,
I don't even want to think about it. I know that I took us there, but I'm sorry. I'm taking us right back.
I would have had to, like, bleach myself.
Yeah.
It would have been too much.
It would have been way too much.
And up until that point, I was having a lovely day, you know.
Were you listening to the soundtrack of When Harry Met Sally?
I was per my friend's request. She did say, and I quote, "Listen to the soundtrack of When Harry Met Sally and romanticize your life." And that's what I was trying to do. And what did I get in return? A bug.
But then you got
But
a
then
friend.
I got sisterhood. But then I got sisterhood, and I do love that. And I do love that. No, I do love that. That was really precious. And then afterwards, I went to several other bookstores and then went home. And I was just like, Manhattan, I don't know if you're it for me.
That's okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I just feel very stressed.
It's
like
great to have
the
opinions.
moment that I stepped foot in there. However, I did go to a coffee shop, Birch Coffee.
Shout out.
Shout out. Some of the best coffee that I've had.
Was
Like,
it fall
ever.
flavored?
Yeah, but they had, like, a specialty one. It was, like, a birch spice latte instead of a pumpkin spice latte, and it was more spice, no pumpkin, and I actually really loved that. I really, really loved that. Like,
New
was like, this
pastures
is new
exploring.
pastures. And I was like, "No, I think this is what I want," because I fear with some pumpkin spice lattes, you'll get a third of the way through, and you're like, "I'm like, this is so sweet.
It's not fun anymore.
This is not fun anymore, like, I'm drinking a pumpkin pie, like, this is so sweet." But with the ones that I had in New York, like, overall, like, the coffees were not that sweet, and I was like, "Am I maturing?
Is this growth?
Am I an adult?" Because if you know me, I love a sweet drink. I love a sweet coffee. I love a sweet drink. I love a sweetie sweetie. I got here and I was like, better
Than everyone else? Maybe.
Maybe. And so that, yeah, that's me. That was my pause.
I love that.
Sisterhood.
Always stop to tell somebody they have a bug in their hair, they have something in their teeth,
Yeah.
they have something on their clothes, because you would want it done for you.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
But really, it's true. Well, great. Now we're at the end.
Now we are.
Now we're at the end.
We are indeed.
I'm so glad that our like social experiment of like maybe we start a podcast is working out.
Dude, we did a whole season.
We did a whole season. 6 eps. Thank you to everyone who listened. Shout out to my dad who listens to every single episode. You are the real one. And I can't wait to continue. I think this has been really fun. I think it's been a creative challenge.
Yeah.
It has like led me to watch, even though I already watch a lot of films, it's led me to like really intentionally watch film and be excited to discuss it and pick out the parts that really stood out to me. And media literacy, y'all.
Shout out to our day one fan, Hugo.
Shout out the other
day one.
The other pillar. It's my dad and Ego, the pillars of this podcast.
Who sat in a pub with us, struck up a contract,
dared us to make
this podcast, and has been avidly listening ever since.
1 pint of cider and a few months later, here we are.
And it's fun. It's girlhood. I enjoy getting to connect with you across the ocean. And yeah, it's made me explore films a bit more and enjoy the genres that I love and expand on the genres that I'm not that familiar with. And
it's great to revel in being a fan of something. Like exploring new dimensions of, I'm a person that likes film, but let me go a bit further. So great. We are so excited for season 2.
We are.
We have so many things up our sleeve that we're excited to do in season 2. But if you, the listener, want us to watch any specific films or tackle a specific director, a certain theme of film, please let us know. And please share this episode with somebody that you think might like it. Share the podcast if there's another episode that you think they might enjoy, to help us grow the darlings. And Dani, where can they tell us these things?
You guys can come and join us on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube at PausePodGirls. And yeah, leave us a comment, slide into our DMs. I'm pretty sure they're open. And yeah, we really just want to grow community and be in community with you guys. And that is 99.9% of the reason why we even started this podcast is to connect with the other darlings out there and chat film.
Birds of a feather must yap together.
Birds of a feather must yap together. And we are so excited to continue yapping with you guys. Next season, we will be posting updates on our socials about when that next season will be coming to your ears.
We need a little hiatus to scheme. And then we'll be back. But if you want to know the minute that we announce when the premiere date of season 2 will be, give us a follow on Instagram.
And we will see you guys so soon.
And bye! Enjoy spooky season!